Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Gavinsky's Tutorials. Today I'm going to do a walkthrough of the new update to Elastic OSC. So it's March 2026 and this just got a new update that makes it MPE. So we can now have per note expression. I'm a huge fan of MPE. Now I don't have a physical MPE controller with me at the moment. It's back in Ireland in the family home. I am in Nepal now, and I don't have that. But you know, I've got got two things. I mean, I've got the inbuilt MPE keyboard inside this app, right? And you know, other potential touchscreen MPE controllers. Like if you watch my channel, you'll know I'm a big fan of using Salome for MPE drones, right? This app by Brambos. So, like an iPad doesn't have the sensitivity to touch pressure that something like, say, the Rolly Seaboard has, right? But we can still use other MPE gestures. And the main one that we're going to use here then will be this slide movement. So let me just show you first, you know, what you're going to do when you first open up Elastic OSC, right? It's going to be like this. If you're on the init patch, it'll have the regular keyboard. So if we want to start going into the MPE thing, oh, by the way, guys, one more thing before I forget. Also, today, Elastic OSC just became available for Android. Well, actually, I think they had a sort of, you know, pre-release kind of version there, but today I think it's officially now available on Android. So you'll find it on the Play Store if you're an Android user. So if we go to settings, you know, now you see there's this MPE tab, right? And if it's like this, it means MPE is off. So let's turn it on. Now MPE is on. And now you see the keyboard has changed. Now this is already set up with a few little settings related to MPE. So the first one, and it's really important one, is that frequency thing. So let me show you what it would be like if that wasn't on. So if I press here, if I drag to the right, it's not doing pitch bend, right? But if I set this to 48, and you know how you set this will depend on the controller that you're using, but for this you're going to want to set it to 48. Then now see this, see here, let me just play this note, and now let me play this note. So that's, you know, a semitone difference between them. Now if I drag from here to here, it'll do that bend. And because it's MPE, now I get per note pitch bend. So if I play this note, for example, and I play another note, now I'm just bending the second note. I'm not bending the first one. That is not possible with normal MIDI. With normal MIDI, you know, you've just got a pitch bend wheel, and to be like this. Both of them are bending the same. So now with MPE we have per note pitch bend, and we can also do other per note expressions. So here, you know, you can dial in slide Y. So that is in the MPE protocol, that is referring to CC74. Here, the developers have chosen to use the terminology that Rolly use. On some other MPE instruments, that will be referred to as CC74. Here, this is dialing in for pressure. That's also called channel aftertouch, or it's sometimes called MPE pressure, right? Now, on a Rolly Seaboard, on the physical hardware, this will be related to Y movements, and that just means, you know, moving your finger up the key, right? So as I move up here, what it's doing is it's modulating the timbre on a per note basis. You know, see my original video on Elastic OSC for details about the, you know, the main controls of the synth. I won't cover that in this video, and I won't cover the LFO update that this got. I covered that in my second video, right? So So some, touchscreen controllers might send this pressure message, this channel aftertouch on y-axis movements. For example, that's what the app Salome by Bramboss does. I'd highly recommend, if you've got an MPE controller and you're not sure what messages it sends, send it into a MIDI monitor, right? And then do a y-axis movement, right? And you can see here it says CP, so that means it's sending channel pressure. So if we look back at Elastic Osc here, when I play this, it's currently adjusting morph, right? If I take this down, now it's no longer adjusting morph, right? If I do this, now it's going the opposite direction. We just changed the polarity. If I do this, now this is controlling the timbre on the y-axis. Right, so MIDI monitor, you get an app like this. This is a MIDI monitor called Show MIDI. It's very, very heavy on CPU for some absolutely bizarre reason. I really don't know why. Another trick, by the way, this app here called Streambiter. If you put this script into Streambiter, and thank you very much to Uncle Dave from the Loopy Pro forum for giving me this script, this will convert those pressure messages to CC74 messages. So if you look here, at this one here, I'm sending this instance into this MIDI monitor. See, now that's sending CC74 message there, right? So that should help you, troubleshoot any issues that you run into. Make sure you understand what messages your controller is sending. Now I'll just come back to using the internal keyboard here. So here, using the internal keyboard, the y-axis movements are, the only thing it's sending. It's not sending these pressure messages. So for the rest of this video, I'll just ignore this altogether. So let's just look at a few options here. So my personal very favorite thing to do first is map gain. So now if I touch a note near the bottom, it'll be completely silent. And then as I bring it up, the volume will rise. And again, this is completely per note, and that's just beautiful. And again, we've got our per note pitch bend, right? Absolutely fabulous. So I really love using gain, and I love setting that up for drone patches. And a really classic combination is gain and filter. Maybe won't open the filter that much. Let's just put it like this. So you see now it's also getting brighter as I go up. But we can reverse that as well. LFO1, I think we're probably not using that. Let me see. It's not connected to anything. We'll see that when we look at some presets. I think this is really weird and interesting one to modulate the engine. I'm going to turn gain off for this, so I'm no longer modulating gain. So here, we have these 24 different synth engines in here. This is using the engine of Mutable Instruments Plaits, right? So now when I drag up, we're going to be changing from one engine to another. This is a really unique thing to have control of. It's very experimental, but you see there? Now note that it doesn't happen for a while. That's to do with the way the curves have been set up here. I personally would really like the user to have control of the curves for each of these, but I think the developers want to keep this simple. If you want to know what I'm talking about, look at an app like GeoShred or the audio modeling apps. Give you amazing curves. They're very useful in my opinion. So that's the engine. So that's mad. Absolutely mad. Harmonic's a beautiful thing to modulate. You know, sometimes people bring out drone apps and they're not MPE, and I just think, why would I want to use something that is not? Why would I want to use a synth that's not MPE for drones? I wouldn't. I love MPE. It's so much more expressive. Morph. This one's really nice. And again, you know, we don't need to dial in all of them full. So I personally would often use this with something like Salome instead if I want to do drone, because I love having this keyboard here, you know. It's nice to have the 4 octaves. Plus another really cool thing about this keyboard is what I call latch and catch, where when I drag the pitch or anything, you know, it'll have a little dot there, and then I can go back and I press on that again and it picks up from the last place where I left it. It's really fab. Great. So again, you know, you can certainly use the keyboard in here, but there are plenty of other options around if you'd like to experiment with other things. Let's bring in a little bit of engine. You know, that's really full on, the engine changes. So, you know, if you don't want that, then don't dial it in. It's really simple. I mean, there you got a song already, basically, right? Just stick a drum behind that. Okay, so let's see some of the presets. So, you know, when you go through the presets, if you go in here, you'll see that, you know, the people have set them up. And like this person obviously is using a hardware controller, and they're able to have separate control of CC74 and channel aftertouch. Remember that using the keyboard here, we won't have that. So here, if I move up, it's only going to be, you know, it's only going to be connected to the things in this column. It's not going to be modulating any of these. So, you know, I could change all of these, and it's not going to make the slightest bit of difference. So, you know, feel free to go in and play around with the presets. So, for example, this person hasn't set up glide here, but I would probably just go and dial in a little bit of glide. So that means now we can do the pitch bends. And I love how when you change between presets in this, you know, you don't get any of this horrible clicking or just sounds being cut off immediately, like you do in many synths. If you're using regular MIDI into this, you can latch a note, and when you change presets, it will, you know, stay latched, and that's great. But that doesn't work with MPE because the note on is needed to trigger things. So if you keep a note latched and you change to another MPE preset, you are going to have to trigger the note again, and that's unavoidable. It's not like sloppiness from the developers or anything. So, you know, if you go to a patch and you see that, let me see if I can find an example. Like, you know, here, this person has dialed in a little bit of engine modulation with pressure. So because here I don't have pressure, I'm just sending the slide messages. Well, I can just go and dial in a little bit of that here if I want. And I mean, it's not as good as having the separate control of each of those, but it's still cool. The keyboard here, it does have a lock function, and you also have arrows to change the octave. That's nice. Lovely. Okay. And I mean, that's, only sending the slide message. I'd love to hear what this is like with pressure as well. So, I mean, I can do that. If you remember, this one here is sending the channel pressure messages. So if I play with this one, we'll hear, that's all set up like that, and I don't need to bother changing anything myself. Let's just go back to the internal keyboard here. Again, no glide set up there, so it's very easy to just bring that in. So I think you've already seen enough. If you own this, I don't know, why would you not buy this? I love MPE. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Hope this was useful for you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.